Working a 9 to 5 is hard. You wake up, get ready for work, prepare yourself mentally, and drive to work. You have a predictable day, but you've been doing this for years and the monotony is getting to you. In a way, you feel stuck, like you can't do things for yourself. Your boss should be you, not Joe Schmo over there. Then you think, wait a sec, I can design my life. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you have a 9 to 5 job and you clicked on this video and you want to be financially independent from your employer, which really opens up the floodgates to designing your own life, then this video is going to be really intriguing because we're going to go over the steps that you need to take in order to get out of that 9 to 5 and transition into a life that you are the boss of, which I think ultimately is what most of us want. So I've designed the 7-step process, which if you guys implement right now, you'll end this year in a much better place than where you started. So that brings us to the first step, which is to actually just keep your job. I think a lot of people that want to pursue entrepreneurship think, I need to quit my job. I need to go all in on that. But I really do think that that is a common misconception and that can really set yourself up for failure, which of course I don't want you guys to do. So whatever 9 to 5 job you have right now, keep it. Your job is a blessing. And for now, what you can do is just keep stacking your cash. Your primary job is going to pay the bills while you get into entrepreneurship. And yeah, that's the first recommendation I actually tell everyone that wants to do what I do. A lot of people look at my life, they look at other entrepreneurs' lives, and they're like, I want that, I'm quitting my job. But I implore you guys, keep that job, do a decent job for your boss or your employer. You can sort of view this as quiet quitting. I wouldn't go so far to say that you should just all of a sudden do terrible work at your job. I don't think that's very ethical, but in a way we are sort of just looking at that job as maintaining our lifestyle, paying our bills, keeping us afloat. And yeah, that's going to lead us to the next step. All right, step 2 is to build a timeline. Creating a timeline is a very, very important step that I think a lot of people actually skip over, but you really need to ask yourself, what are my goals and when do I actually want to quit my job by? This is going to hold yourself a lot more accountable. It's going to give you a certain set date that you actually want to quit your job by. And that's going to put a lot more pressure on you. And yes, that's the good type of pressure, and force yourself to start generating money outside of work. It's really important to give yourself some clarity and sort of break down your ultimate goal, which is to leave your job, into all these little steps and timelines. What those steps are is ultimately for you to decide. But of course, we want to tell ourselves, we want to hold ourselves accountable to actually getting out by that set date. So whether that's 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 12 months from now, or even longer, look at your priorities, look at your situation, and come to a conclusion on that timeline. That leads us into step 3, which is identifying a high value skill. So the definition of a high value skill, at least for me, is a skill that not that many people do, requires some type of specialized knowledge, and it has to be something that I can charge at least $50 per hour for. I know identifying a high value skill is a tough step for a lot of people. I think most people think, I don't have the types of skills that you can charge a lot of money for, but I encourage you guys, dive deep down, think about all the different things that you can do that can add value to other people's lives. For example, when I was in high school, I was obsessed with photography. And I didn't know at the time, but I was building a very high value skill that later on in the future would help me make a lot of money. So think about the skills that you are good at, take a piece of paper out and literally start making a list. Do one column of things that you already know how to do, and then do another column of high value skills that you are really passionate about or want to learn. From there, analyze what you have written down and choose 1 to 2 of those high value skills. If it's a skill that you don't have that much experience in, well, the great news is that you can build that experience right now. You can literally go out there, learn about it on YouTube for free, and then start building your skills by just doing it. The great thing is that this is likely going to not cost you any money. So you can do this while still working your job and solidify that high value skill. Oh, and if you guys want some ideas for some high value skills, I'll link a video down below that I made. But yeah, essentially there's going to be thousands and thousands of high value skills out there. So that's going to bring us into the next step, which is basically just doing that service for clients, right? So the whole thing about this step is that we are diversifying our income. We're going from one income source, which is our main 9 to 5 job, and adding another one, which is doing this high value skill for clients. Essentially, with one step, you are able to literally double your income sources, which is really cool. Remember, for now, this is going to be your side hustle, right? So it's not your main source of income, rather it's supplementing your income. That's why going back to step one, what I want you guys to do is just to keep your job. When you keep your job, you're able to start building the service as a side hustle. There's not that much pressure, and it allows you to learn and grow without having the pressure of paying your bills with this newfound skill. Now, of course, doing the service for clients, it's a lot easier said than done. But actually, I think with some hustle and some creativity, every single one of you guys watching this video will be able to find clients to actually practice and do a service for. You don't need to charge your full rate, especially at the beginning. But the great news is that even though you're not making the max potential amount of money for that skill is literally growing inside of you. You're getting a lot better at it. And so yeah, it's sort of like building equity in your own self. Sooner or later, you'll be able to charge more and more. And as you scale and build your clients, I encourage you guys, raise your prices and charge what you're worth. The easiest way to get your first client is just to go to your friends and offer your service for free or at a greatly reduced rate. I promise you, if you can do that service well for them, they'll tell their friends about you, and sooner or later, your client list is really going to grow by word of mouth. You can supplement that with posting on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, Thumbtack, Fiverr, Upwork, any of these sites. And then yeah, once you get your first few clients, it's off to the races. Now, as you're doing all this stuff, you're building your side hustle while still working your job, it's going to start feeling kind of lonely. And that sort of brings us to step number 5, which is to find other like-minded people that are doing what you're doing. Essentially, you're going to want to expand your network and maybe even join a mastermind group. So back when I was in college and also after college, when I was trying to pursue entrepreneurship, most of my friends were doing the 9-to-5 thing. They had great careers. And yeah, that left me in a position where, I didn't really have other people to bounce ideas off of. I felt sort of out of place since I was attempting to do something that none of my friends were trying to do. And yeah, that's why they say entrepreneurship can be extremely lonely. That is, unless you join some type of group or make sure that you incorporate other entrepreneurs into your friend circle. Your network is actually super, super important. I feel like any entrepreneur, if they lack that type of network, the ceiling of what they can actually accomplish is going to be severely limited. And yeah, for me, masterminding, talking to other friends that are also in business, this has been one of the most crucial things that I have done over the last few years. And I'll say right here, right now, that I directly credit over $1 million of my earnings to masterminding. So find other people that want to leave their job. Find other entrepreneurs that have already been successful. There's so many different ways you guys can network with these types of people, either through social media or even in person. And if you set this as a priority, I guarantee you it's going to be one of the greatest things you do. So after doing those 5 steps, that's going to lead us to step 6, which is the fun one. When your side hustle income can actually support your living expenses, that is going to be a good time to quit. And that's essentially step number 6. By the time you reach this step, you're going to have grown so much as an entrepreneur. You'll probably be very glad that you kept your job, as you'll see that the income was probably pretty hard to start up, but once the ball got rolling, it got easier and easier. And yeah, quitting, especially if you want to, is going to be one of the happiest days of your life. When you put in the work to build up an additional source of income, especially one that can actually support you and your family, then quitting becomes that much easier. It's no longer a bad thing, rather it's a really good thing. You'll notice that when you quit your job, your mental space is going to free up a lot, and you'll be able to dedicate a lot more time and resources into building your side hustle, which has now become your main hustle. From there, you'll see even more growth. And since working for yourself allows you to become a better overall entrepreneur with more skills, this can actually lead to other businesses that you want to start and diversifying your income streams even more. But I think the most important part, which is actually step number 7, is to focus on your marketing. If you want to make $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 a month or more with your service-based business, it's going to be really important that you are continually finding new clients. Now, the best way to find clients is going to be organic marketing. By using social media and telling the world that you offer this service, you're going to, number 1, increase the amount of people that know you do that service. 2, make yourself the first person that comes to mind when that person thinks of that service. And 3, of course, that's going to lead to way more clients. For example, let's go back to that example of becoming a photographer. If you start posting on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, showing people just how amazing you are at photography and giving them some value, I guarantee you, you're going to be the first person that your circle thinks about when they think photographer. So if someone's looking to get married or someone's looking to, throw a baby shower or whatever, they're gonna think, oh, I want to document this event and I need a photographer. Which photographers do I know? Charlie. Social media is how I built my photography business, and that same concept is going to apply to whatever business you're doing. The trick here here is to give value, post consistently, and use social media sort of like a portfolio. The more skills you can show off and the more you can actually help other people with your content, the more likely they're going to eventually buy from you. And so yeah, when you do steps 1 through 7, get to the end and then start repeating steps 3 through 7, this will allow you to build your first business, your second business, and whatever other businesses you guys can dream up. But the pressure is on because you need to start this as soon as possible. Don't delay, because the more you wait, the more this timeline's gonna get pushed out, the more comfortable you're gonna get at your job. And yeah, we want our best life to start as soon as possible. And the best thing you guys can do literally after watching this video is to start putting the steps into motion. Now, before I end this video, I actually want to quickly go over some big mistakes that people do. The first is that for someone with a 9-to-5 job, they think, I want to go into business, I want to be an entrepreneur, I'm going to start a business with a high fail rate. I mean, you guys have all heard these statistics. Most businesses end up fizzling out after a few years. And when you get into a certain category of businesses, which mostly are just going to be not service-based businesses, the fail rates are even higher. So if you're a new entrepreneur, I don't recommend you guys try something that takes a lot of resources, takes a lot of money, and could easily fail. That's not gonna be a good foray into entrepreneurship. It's not gonna make you want to stay an entrepreneur. And that's why I really focus on starting to build that side hustle, starting to build that service-based business. That is way more sustainable. It's way more likely that you'll be able to succeed. And having immediate cash flow like that is really what's going to allow you to be able to quit your job. Another big mistake that people make is that they quit their job without adequate savings. Entrepreneurship is hard. It's actually really hard to start making money, especially at the beginning. And then it can also be very volatile. So that's why, going back to step number 1, I really emphasize keep your job and hold on to that job until your side hustle can actually pay for your lifestyle. If you insist on quitting without doing that first, then at a minimum have 6 to 12 months of money saved up, and that will hopefully give you guys enough runway before your business starts making money. And then the third big mistake people do is they don't think social media is important. If you guys don't do social media, I guarantee you that whatever service-based business you guys eventually find yourself doing is going to be severely capped. You'll likely be capped in the low 6 figures, but if you want to make mid to high 6 figures, 7 figures, or even more, you're going to need some type of leverage. You're going to need a lot more people to know what you do, and that is where social media comes in. So again, I just want to emphasize, at some point, you will want to get into social media. If you're shy, there's tons of ways to do a faceless social media channel. Easlo is a great example of someone that's done exactly that. So yeah, you guys, when I look back on my life and I think about my greatest achievements, escaping the 9-to-5 life is definitely at the top of the list. I've only worked a 9-to-5 for about 2 months in my entire life, but those 2 months were soul-sucking, super boring. I just cannot envision myself doing that for the rest of my life. Doing my own service-based businesses was the best thing that I ever did, and I hope this video can sort of inspire you guys to follow those footsteps. I now live a life that I could only have dreamed of before, and I really owe it all to being an entrepreneur. Anyways, I hope you guys got some value out of this video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button, support the channel by subscribing, and yeah, I make a ton of videos about personal finance, entrepreneurship, and investing. I really appreciate your guys' time, and I hope you guys have an amazing day. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.